The Case for Libertarianism, Part 2. Now, you claim that the Libertarian Party is too much for personal freedom, and you mentioned guns. Do you know what the first thing totalitarian states do? They take away people's guns so they can't rebel against the government. And I'm going to tell you straightforward, if you do not like guns being legal in America, then find another country, because this country will have guns 1,000 years from now if America is still in existence. Because not only is it in our Constitution, but the NRA is probably the most powerful organization in America. I mean, it is the only non-profit organization that's not a corporation that is probably just as powerful as any corporation in America. So if you don't like guns in the first place and think that they should be illegal, then go to another country that they are illegal, because you're never going to win that battle, so just deal with it. Now, second off, the criminals themselves usually have records, and they generally do not understand things, so they generally get their guns in the first place from the black market. And the first thing they'll tell you is when they are going to rob someone or steal from them or do certain bad things, that they'll say that they worry that you have a gun. And it's pretty much true. I mean, many cities in Europe have people who just constantly mug people and steal because they don't care. Like, if you go and mug someone in America, you say, someone might have a gun, and I fear. If you are in some country like Holland, and you just say, oh, well, I could do whatever I want because they don't have guns, so I can just be an asshole. So, in that aspect, this is true. And if we make guns illegal, all you have, instead of having hunters and people who are not bad having guns, and criminals worrying about it, you just have only people on the black market have guns in the first place. If you make guns illegal, Americans will still get guns off the black market. We'll criminalize it. They'll go to jail for it. And our prison system will grow, and we'll have to put unnecessary money into that. And it is not the guns that are the problem for much of the murder rate in America. It's that drugs are illegal. And libertarians are for legalized drugs in the first place, or at least many libertarians. And it's like prohibition. When prohibition was around and we prohibited alcohol, what happened? It was an increase in gang violence. Just like there is an increase in gang violence, gangs who only get their money off of drug selling and being illegal in the first place. So, although a lot of people are concerned about drugs being legal, I mean, I think it's a very gray area, and I think there's no clear answer because we do not have the capability in this situation to even make a clear answer. I mean, some of the drugs are really heavy and really bad, and I mean, even marijuana, I mean, stays in the system for a month. Unlike alcohol, it only stays in for a short while. So how can you know someone's driving with marijuana? Which is probably the case why almost 90% of the world, or whatever it is, does not have drugs legal in the first place, because it's a difficult situation. But nonetheless, it's like, just because people say drugs are illegal, it's like, oh, well, they're still here. Same thing with guns. It would be like, guns are illegal, but the end result would be people still have guns. So, I mean, it's like, what is worse? I mean, for instance, like, when I was growing up, I would have people come up to me and say, do you need drugs? Like, drug dealers. I never had anyone come up to me and say, you need alcohol. I mean, it's easier for your kids to actually get drugs than it is to get alcohol. I mean, your kid probably has an easier time getting cocaine on the street, just walking around, than he does going to get alcohol. And that's what I dealt with growing up. I don't know about everyone else, but, I mean, at least if drugs were legal, the government could actually make sure it was not bad. Like, there was not actual poisons and bullshit in it that killed people. And I don't think it would really increase drug use in the first place. I mean, I think that the drugs are illegal and people do it anyway. And if drugs were legal, I don't think it would, like, really change much. And you think about it, the government could tax the drugs in the first place. I mean, my opinion is, I mean, think about it. I mean, so much of the prison from gangs and selling drugs and drug use, I mean, right there, you're talking about a prison system that's probably be about, like, 1/4 of the size or less. And that's less tax money we need to use in the first place. And then you think, like, the gang violence would probably go down by 1/4 as well, if not more, which would basically be like prohibition, like, when alcohol was legal. Like I said, like, gang violence got worse. And I think the gang violence has been so bad in the last 15, 20 years in America that we have to make drugs legal. I mean, I think it's just going to be a downward spiral. I mean, the violent crime rate is already on the rise. It was down for a few years, but it's gone up again. And I think as long as drugs are illegal, we're going to have a huge gang society in America. And I think we need to do something about that. And the government could make taxes off of the drugs. In my opinion, is if the drugs are illegal in the first place, we probably would not even need taxes, period. I mean, think about every person in America. I mean, marijuana is like $20 a bag. Now, like, if marijuana was legal and mass-produced, it'd probably be $2 for that same bag. The government could still tax it $18 extra onto it, like it would be $20 for a small bag of marijuana. And with that kind of tax and that amount of people, I don't even think we need any tax, period. I mean, I think we could just kind of just sit around and not even worry about taxes in the first place, which I say is a good thing. And the government can make sure that the drugs are good. Like, they can make sure they never get past a certain potency. And I still think that the corporations themselves could still give drug tests. So it could be like, hey, the corporations give drug tests, so even if drugs are legal in the first place, people can't get hired for work because they have drugs in their system. Then most people are not going to do drugs in the first place, kind of like many people now do. So, in my opinion, I just think it's just the same old, and I just think that is what we need. And personal freedom is basically what America's for. And if you don't really like those ideals, I say, like I said, if you don't like guns and you can't stand that guns are legal, go to Holland or go to France or some other country where they don't have guns, and then don't even worry about it, because you're never going to get rid of guns in America, and that's what we are. And if you can't take that as part of the Constitution, then go and get out of America in the first place. And that's what my opinion